Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Clark. I'm the Principal Computational Scientist at Helion Energy, and today I'm going to be giving a talk to you that I gave at the American Physical Society Division of Plasma Physics meeting in 2024. I'm going to be talking to you about hybrid simulations of compression-relevant FRC equilibria for Polaris. Helion, we're a company that was founded in 2013. We've grown to over 400 people. We're based in Everett, Washington. And we had early support from DOE and ARPA-E, and we are now a venture-backed company, and we're scaling up and building large fusion machines. And our technology, it's based on this so-called magneto-inertial fusion concept, where we do very high field pulsed compression of a field reverse configuration target, and ultimately we form it, we translate this thing, we merge them together, and it forms an FRC, and then we compress it. So the simulations I'm going to be showing you today are going to be some of the processes in these steps, where focus mainly on the merging and compression section right now. Our motivation here is that while this is a very dynamic process where we're colliding and merging FRCs, and there are a lot of open questions about the global stability and the transport properties of these field reverse configurations under formation, translation, compression, and we want to be able to fully understand these things and ultimately have predictive capability for designing machines in the future. Early this year, we will be adding fusion products, energy loss into WarpX to really get the entire gamut of the physics spectrum in there. The code that we're using, that we're contributing to actively, is this open source code called WarpX. It's built on top of this performance portable framework called AMRX, and it's well, to be honest, it's a very, very fast, I would say one of the fastest particle and cell codes in the world. It can scale to entire supercomputer runs. It has very strong and weak scaling performance. And we are collaborating with a group at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab and the High Performance Software Foundation now to develop WarpX. So we are adding in a lot of the physics and capabilities for WarpX, and we're co-developing this so-called hybrid solver in there. So to start, I want to show this figure of a magnetohydrodynamic simulation of an FRC. And this FRC, the color in there is a density. So dark red is higher density, blue is lower density. Well, I take that back. It's pressure, so it's density times temperature. And you can see that in those dark red spots, kind of at the the outer edge of the FRC, there's low magnetic field and high density. And then just outside of that, there's this separatrix that is an envelope around the outside of the FRC that gives us the position where there's a separation between the closed magnetic field lines and the open magnetic field lines around the outside of it. These they're under a pressure balance inside of the compression chamber, so they are a natural equilibrium that's kinetically stabilized. So in order to simulate these things in this hybrid approach, we use what's called a magnetostatic hybrid algorithm, where we take the electron momentum equation that's up here on the top left, and we neglect the electron inertia terms, so that term goes to zero. In Ampere's law on the right, we neglect the displacement current, and if you combine these items, you can solve the electron momentum equation for a generalized Ohm's law that you can see in this pink box here. So if you can solve for this electric field at each time step, then you can use that to advance the magnetic field using Faraday's law below. So here's an example of a three-dimensional calculation of two FRCs where we computed the MHD equilibrium with an internal Grad-Shafronov code, and we just put them next to each other. And they merge together into a single FRC, and they kind of hang out there for a long time. It has a very high elongation, and it lasts for, this is kind of order hundreds of microseconds. So this is a sufficient lifetime in the pre-compression stage, at least to be able to compress the target over the compression ramp times of our machine. And so in order to simulate the adiabatic compression of the field reverse configurations, we needed to add some additional physics into WarpX. There are a few different methods for including external fields in hybrid codes, but this one where we have a split field, external field, combined with the internal response of the plasma from the hybrid algorithm, this gives us a pretty quick and effective way to vary external fields and have the FRC respond to these fields. So this is an open pull request in GitHub right now in the WarpX repo, which should be closing very soon. We're still bug testing it and wrapping up the documentation and things of that nature. However, it's nearly ready for prime time. So with these external fields, one of the first test cases that we ran was very similar to the one we saw before. However, in this case, the FRCs are separated further. And the way that we get them to come together is by increasing the magnetic fields at the ends, and it kind of squeezes on the FRCs, then they come together. And then after they come together, we add a slight mirror field to help kind of keep it together, and then we add a uniform compression field in this case that compresses the FRC. And you can see now that it's in the middle, it's getting smaller, shorter, the density is increasing. It's not shown here, but the temperature is also increasing. And really what this shows us is that, at least in 2D, we know that we can reach thermonuclear temperatures in the FRCs, well, excluding the radiation losses, which are coming very soon. But it's very promising. The FRC obeys the adiabatic compression relationships that have been found experimentally and derived previously. And in this case, there's very little energy loss, and we're able to get to, on this next slide, at the peak compression, densities of about 10 to the 22 particles per cubic meter, and temperatures of about 8 to 10 kilo-electron volts. So this is sufficient for a DT fusion reaction to occur, and it's something that should be attainable in our next machine that we're building, and should be able to demonstrate gain from these compression conditions. So some of the next steps here, which will be coming out very soon, are running similar calculations in 3D. They're pretty expensive calculations to run, so they take kind of a while. And these should, well, everything points to them being stable in 3D under compression, but we will have simulation results very soon to show situations where this is the case. Like I said previously, we need to add in some extra physics. We need radiation losses, electron heat conduction, and we're also adding an electron energy equation into the hybrid simulation in WarpX, which should be coming online soon as well. And with all of these things, we can do the bookkeeping, track the electron energy, track the energy transfer between the electrons and ions, and really have a very good first principles simulation of almost everything in the FRC except for the transport coefficients for the electrons. We do have some plans in the future for addressing this and improving the transport models based on our experimental data. However, currently we're using just kind of standard forms of resistivity, either found in literature or just derived to try. So to wrap it up, our Helion's really increasing our simulation capability, and we are getting much closer to being able to predict the compression FRC performance of these FRCs in our machines from first principles. And I'm looking forward to sharing many more exciting and interesting results in the very near future.